Hello, everyone. I am here in Finland visiting a smart sleep lab, as it's called, a sleep laboratory that tests also new technologies in sleep. And I am visiting Professor Timo Leppänen. He is very well known by the sleep community for his work in technology assessment. And he will be here talking to us a bit about his background, how he ended up going into the sleep field. And he will also give us some tips, let's say, or his view on technologies, how much we can rely on them or not. Right? So Timo, thank you very much for this talk. It's so nice for us to see people with a background like yours giving contribution to sleep field. And I think that it's so nice the way that you translate things from your field of expertise to also more real life problems. Right? So can you give us a little bit of your background and how did you end up working in the sleep field?
Yeah, so thank you for this possibility to tell a little bit about my story and then provide possibly some hints and at least opinions and about the wearable technology and sleep field or future of sleep medicine. So my background is in medical physics. So I graduated from the Department of Applied Physics. And actually, one like where everything started in my case is that after I started my studies at the university, my first summer job was analyzing those polysomnographic recordings, and I did that for 2 summers and also alongside studies, and then I did my bachelor thesis, master thesis, PhD thesis related to sleep disorders, obstructive sleep apnea. Since I got my PhD, there was actually no sleep group in our department at all. So we decided to establish one. That was 2017. And now, 7, 8 years later, there is 26 of us in working with sleep, biosignal analysis, artificial intelligence, deep learning, and well-being wearables.
Mm-hmm. That's quite let's say, an impressive diversity of topics, right? Mm-hmm. To deal with devices, artificial intelligence. This is very interesting that you're seeing where the sleep field is going, right? And so can you tell me, or can you tell us, all the doctors who will see this, what are the challenges that you find in your work, right? Assessing these technologies.
Yeah, so like the first challenge, which was a trigger for all our research, is manual analysis of sleep recordings. That is a certain task that could be automatized without compromising the accuracy. Of course, there is like special cases and abnormal or very rare sleep disorders where current automatic tools are not that good yet. But like in many cases, the analysis task could be automatized. But the challenge in our work is how to translate these research findings to clinics. So when somebody is being able to develop whether algorithms or new devices or whatever that could be used in clinics to do screening of sleep disorders or diagnosing them or follow up treatment as success, those devices need to be approved as a medical devices. That is at least the case in the Europe and States and things like that. So if there is no like the manpower or facilities in the research group to commercialize those or developments, tools, then there needs to be a collaboration with companies. And that's kind of the key. So basically, I see that two at least simplest ways are either to establish a spin-off company or then collaborate or sell your innovation to company who are then going to do go through the medical device regulation process.
Yeah. Yes, going from the university, right? Going to from the research field to a more commercial or practical, let's say, approach to the population.
Yes, because it doesn't, like in practice, it doesn't matter anything if you just, your innovation is just an article. If that's it, if that is end of the story, then your innovation value is zero. So there must be a translation to practice.
That's absolutely.
That's an insight over here, because here in Brazil, Timo, we do face this dilemma, the distance between research and industry in most research centers, I think. And that's very positive to see and to hear you talk about it, because I consider it like a renewable cycle where you do your research, you create a commercial insight from it, you get the money, and you can produce more research and even more innovation. I think it's very positive, and you indeed take your article and put into people's lives. And that's the beauty of science, I think. It's not for publishing, it's for making a difference in people's lives. That's really amazing.
Yeah. That's very, very nice. And I think that one thing that Timo mentioned, that it's something that we have as, let's say, as clinicians, have to have this view very crystal clear what is a consumer device and what is a software as a medical device, right? Because sometimes patients come to us with these reports, like Fitbit reports and all that sort of apps as well. And sometimes we don't know how to do with it, right? We just don't know what to do with that information. Should I trust it? Should I ask for a sleep test? And Timo, yesterday you gave me a very nice opinion that you have about these devices, about how can we see as not just, I'm talking more of the clinician perspective, but you also researcher, right? You also have this difference very clear to you. So if you could tell us a little bit about your view on consumer device, software as a medical device, how they're different in terms of the specific things that they need to do to acquire a software as a medical device. It does not have to be in detail. And how do you see, or how would you value information that comes from one of them, especially the watches, that are so popular now?
Their popularity has increased recent years, like dramatically, and it has to be always remember that what the doctors want to see. So how detailed information they would like to have. So if they want to see something very detailed information, like for example sleep stage transitions, when they happen, arousals, things like that, then definitely smart or wearables are not accurate enough yet. But if like a simple wake sleep discrimination is enough, they might be useful in that sense. But again, I would say that they tell more about like a long-term trend than one night phenomenon. Because it has to be also keep in mind that these are consumer grade devices. there is no any requirements for companies providing these tools that they test the accuracy of sleep staging, let's say. So they have to only prove that the device is safe to use. But when you go to the medical grade devices, you have to also prove that the device is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes the difference. So if somebody comes to your clinic and says that, hey, based on my wearable measurement, my sleep quality is bad, it might be or might not be true. So if there is other things, symptoms, comorbidities that may ring any bells that there actually might be something ongoing, then there is need for the further clinical evaluation or assessment. But never blindly trust the information provided by the wearables.
Mm. Yeah, I think this comment you made goes also for any kind of exam that we ask, because every exam is complementary to the diagnosis. We always have to look at the big picture of the patient. And what you've mentioned is, let's say, even more important, because sometimes these reports are beautifully done, which is nice. They have nice information, but we have to look at them very, very carefully, because of what you mentioned, they don't go through all the steps required as if they were labeled as a medical device.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and if you take a look about the literature, there is already algorithms published that are very accurate. For example, estimating severity of obstructive sleep apnea based on pulse oximeter only. But again, those are just research tools at the moment and cannot be yet used for clinical diagnostic making.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nice. Yesterday, I read something, Samantha, on LinkedIn about a colleague posted it. It was like a kind of provocative small text, and he was questioning if a physician provides a treatment based on some AI diagnostic, and this diagnostic is wrong, whose fault is it? I saw this colleague posted it, and another one came in the comments and said, well, it's always the physician's fault, because if you received a wrong lab result or not well indicated lab result, the responsibility is on the physician. So that's why it's really important to understand what kind of data you are getting. You can base solely on a not accurate data information or a beautiful report, as beautiful as it might be. It has to be accurate, not beautiful.
Yeah, that's completely true. Everything comes down to data and data quality. Those devices are able to measure and collect. And then, because all algorithms, for example, those AI tools, they are trained based on that data. So if the data quality is poor, then the results will be poor. But again, if the diagnosis is done based on outcome of the AI algorithm, AI algorithm should be approved as a medical device, so it should work. So in that sense, there should be, at least in my mind, also some sort of responsibility also for the company who have developed the tool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's an interesting point of view. Yeah, I haven't thought about it until yesterday, and I think you're bringing some very insightful opinion in terms of the responsibility of the company once it is a medical software. That's really nice to hear.
Well, I wanted to conclude with one very important question. So Timo, your lab, you are requested by different companies to test devices, right? So in this let's say, pathway also to medical devices, the industry, the technology industry has to approve those devices, right? They have to, when we're talking about the sleep field, they have to be compared against the gold standard, that is the polysomnography type 1, right? And more we have seen some devices, some technological advancements in this pathway to be compared as a polysomnography. And your lab also tests some of them, right?
Yes.
So how do you see the scenario, the future in a few years? Do you think that we will have, let's say, different devices that the patients can use at home, but have the same level as, let's say, accuracy as a type 1 polysomnography or a type 3?
My thoughts are that in the future, there will be very simple device for screening of sleep disorders. It could be like a ring or mattress or smartwatch, whatever. And then we have very sophisticated analysis tools. And then if there is something like those rare sleep disorders, then more detailed evaluation is needed. But long story short, there will be a simple device and sophisticated analysis.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and mainly focused on breathing disorders, right? Like
Yes.
sleep apnea will
Yes.
probably be the first, most important one in this.
Yeah, sleep apnea, insomnia. I think those are the ones that could benefit this kind of advancement a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How many years from that do you think it is going to happen? I know it's a very broad and general question, but let's hear a hint from a subject matter expert.
I think it's not gonna take that long. Few years maybe, because there are already very promising approaches. For example, Samsung had got medical device approval. I think it was in China or Korea, I'm not sure. They got FDI approval for sleep apnea diagnostics. There is a WatchPad that is very simple device for obstructive sleep apnea screening. So, and that's medical device actually. So we are there in a few years, I would claim.
Well, that's very nice. I mean, we have WatchPad in Brazil. I believe that many doctors are familiar with it. Samsung having this approval is also very interesting because it's such a, let's say, easy to use device. There are several classifications, right? The wearables, as we say, that we wear, like the watches, right? We have the ones that they call the nearables, right? They're close to the patient, but don't have a physical contact, like radars, like the ones that you put below the mattress, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. So different type of devices using different metrics, right? But with a strong algorithm in behind the scenes.
Yeah, so and that would be highly beneficial to have these kind of nearables, because they are completely non-invasive and they don't disrupt sleep like polysomnography does. So sleep would be more natural, even though they are sleeping in the hospital environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be the goal, right?
Yeah.
Anyone who has slept, I mean, you probably did also with polysomnography. I did too.
Yeah.
As when I was doing my specialization in minutes, we have to. I mean, it's the gold standard to today. I don't want anyone to get the wrong message. It is the standard that we have for some diseases, especially neurologic diseases. We need them, right? Special cases, also sleep disorder, breathing complex cases. we do need it, but it's true that it's can be very tough for the patient to use it, right? If we don't sleep well. So I'm very glad to hear this, that many of the cases that we see today might have a much less invasive solution.
Hopefully that's gonna be the case in the future.
Yeah.
But again, getting this on the clinical practice, we cannot forget policymakers and insurance companies, because those have a huge effect on the devices that could be used as well.
That is perfectly correct. You mentioned, because none of the solutions will reach the broader population if we don't make sure that they can be reimbursed, for example, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very important aspect of technological incorporation. Usually in healthcare, we don't reduce costs; we usually increase costs. But considering like the easiness of use of a wearable, I think this might be the opposite. Because although to develop the technology is very expensive, the infrastructure you need to perform a polysomnography is really robust. Like you need a physical place. You can do, like, imagine in a few years ahead that you can simply wear a wearable at your home, and I think we might have a really downgrade in terms of costs and increase affordability to increase access and provide more diagnostic and help more people.
Yeah, if we are able to screen and diagnose more people and pinpoint those patients that are in the most need of treatment, we will decrease the costs in the long term, as we are able to prevent comorbidities related to sleep disorders.
It's very true.
Well,
I would like to thank you, Timo. Is there anything else that you want to say to doctors, or anything else that comes to your mind?
I think not at this point. I think this covered quite well the whole topic today, and I would like to thank you for this opportunity.
Well, we have to thank you for giving us your overview on sleep. This is, again, a course for doctors, so it's amazing to have people with your background talking about solutions in this field. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Timo. Indeed, it was amazing. I took note of a lot of insights, and I want to quote a lot of your sentences in the future, and I'll sure watch this again. And I think it will be very insightful for several doctors, not only in terms of acumen about the topic, but also insights and incentives in terms of going deeper in terms of research. And I think it's very inspirational as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.